this lecture we are going to discuss about the armature windings, that is the type of windings used in the armature of DC machines. We have realized that the specialty of the DC machines is in the intricate connection of the armature windings with the commutator, which in turn would be in contact with the brushes. Therefore, it is necessary to know how these armature windings are configured in a DC machine. Now, last class we derived the expressions for voltage and torque, wherein we obtained that the generated voltage EA is equal to KA into phi into omega m, and the developed torque was same KA into phi into IA. Here EA is the induced voltage across the brushes, KA is a constant, and phi is the flux per pole produced by the field, and omega m is the speed of rotation in mechanical radians per second. Similarly, torque developed in a DC machine was again a constant into the flux into the current, armature current that is flowing in the windings, whatever is the current that has been injected into the machine through the brushes. Now, we also have derived expression for this constant Ka. We said Ka is based on the design. So, this Ka was the constant P into Z by 2 pi into A, where P is number of poles and Z is the total number of conductors in armature. So, this is fixed by the design, Z is fixed by the design, that is total number of conductors placed in the periphery of the armature inside the slots, and A we say is number of parallel paths. So, these were important. Now, all these quantities, number of poles based on design, Z is based on the design, A is based on the design. So, the total number of conductors Z and the A, they depend mainly on the type of winding used, that is the nature of armature winding. Now, we should know now how these windings are made in the armature of a DC machine. Okay. Now, let us go to the basics. There will be a turn. Let us say this is one turn. That means all you do is take a wire and bend it like this and form one turn. Okay. So, there is one conductor here, another conductor here. Now, it is important to know that this one conductor will be under influence of one pole, another will be under the influence of another pole. Okay. Now, you need not have one turn, you can have several turns. So, a combination of turns, you can build some coils. So, there could be several turns. Let us say there could be n turns. So, there is a beginning of this is one coil. So, let us understand that by putting several turns you form one coil which will be n turns, that means in each slot there are n conductors. So, there is n conductors here, n conductors there. And we also know that while this is called a coil side, that is side of a coil, there is another coil side. So, these two are coil sides, two sides of a coil, and one side will be, supposing this is under the influence of a north pole, this will be under the influence of a south pole. So, they have to be coil sides will be displaced in such a way that one is under the influence of one pole, another will be under the influence of another pole, and ideally they must be displaced by 180 degrees electrical. So, a coil will have be displaced by 180 degrees electrical. So, this will be inside a slot, this will be inside one slot, this will also be inside a slot. So, if this is into one slot, this will be another slot. So, displacement between the slots will be such that it form 180 degrees. Okay. So, what we say is displacement between slots carrying a coil, carrying two coil sides of a coil, so we say displacement between slots carrying two coil sides of a coil would be 180 degrees. Electrical. So, if you have one slot and you have another slot and there is a coil placed inside the slots where current goes in and comes out, this angle is 180 degrees. Or if you write it in a cylindrical fashion, there will be one coil side here and there will be another coil side here, and here this will be going in, this will be coming out. Let us say this is a coil sides slot S1 and S2, so this will be S1 and S2. So, we can clearly see that angle between the two is 180 degrees. So, this will be a coil. This is how a coil is formed, and it is easy to understand that in any machine you are not using just one coil, you will be using several coils placed in different slots around the periphery of the armature, and they will have to be suitably connected to form the winding. So, we know that after forming the coils, you put them together to form a winding, So we can say that if you have a combination of, there are several coils, let us say it is connected in some form or the other. So let us say this whole thing is a winding. So therefore, we say armature winding is a combination of coils placed in slots formed in the periphery of the armature. That means armature core is formed by having stampings in which it is such a way that you put all the stampings together to form the core of the armature. So core of the armature will have effectively uniformly cut slots, and then you go on placing the windings in some systematic manner to form the armature winding. So armature winding is a combination of coils placed in slots. Okay. Now with this basic understanding of the winding configuration, we should also understand certain definitions. Okay. Now I have just written one coil here. As said that there is one coil side, there is another coil sides. Let us say the coil is made of N turns. Now we know that the coil ends have to be connected to commutators. So one side you connect the commutators, and there is another side which is not connected to commutators. So the side or the end which is connected to commutator, you can call it as a front end connection. This is the front end connection. So other side you can call it as a back end connection, which is on the other side, not on the commutator side. So any coil will have a start point and with several turns, and there is a finish point. So this will be the beginning and end of a coil. Okay. Now these coils are placed in slots. In general, we use double layer windings in most of the DC machines. Okay. Let us understand what is this double layer. Supposing there is a slot here and there is another slot. In double layer, we put conductors in a slot in 2 layers. This is the top layer and this is the bottom layer. So there is a top layer and a bottom layer in each slot. So there may be a coil side, one on top, one on bottom, and separated by suitable insulation. And the other end of that coil will again go to another slot. Again there will be 2 layers. Let us say again this is a top layer and bottom layer. Generally it is connected in such a way that this top layer is connected to a bottom layer. So a coil is not that you will have top layer and other end is also top. So each coil, one is placed on top, another is at the bottom. That means if I say this is the top coil side and this is the bottom coil side here, let us say call it as 1, 2, 3, 4. Now this one which is the top one, we have shown it going to the 4 like this. So you have formed a coil, you formed a coil in such a way it goes on top first, then goes to the bottom, etc. Similarly, this bottom of this will not go to the, not necessarily go to the top of this, it will go to some other top of this. We will learn about it a little later. So this is what is known as a double layer winding, and you ask why we do like this. Usually if a coil is, one is top, another is bottom like this, and if you place it symmetrically around the periphery of the armature, so there will be one top, another bottom, next top, another bottom like that, then end winding there will not be unnecessary overlap connections. So it will fit in properly. So in order to avoid end winding problems, you normally resort to double layer windings. Okay, so it will have several such coils, identical coils placed in two slots, displaced at 180 degrees, but in such a way that one coil side is resting on the top layer, another coil side is resting on the bottom layer. Okay. Now let us see this, the next definition, that we have, I have shown here not 2 coil sides but 4 coil sides. That means it need not be, there is a top layer is not having, there we earlier we have shown on the board we have shown 2 coil sides per slot. Now here in this picture I am showing 4 coil sides per slot, so that means top layer has 2 coil sides and bottom layer has another 2 coil sides. For example, if you say there are 6 slots, that means the slot 1 conductors are entering and slot 6 it is returning. If you define the coil sides as 1, 2, 3, 4 like this, here 1, 3 is going to 22, 24. So 1 and 3 coil side, which is in slot number 1, is connected on the other side of the coil side will be resting at the bottom, that is it is 22 and 24, it is coming like this. Okay. So we can have several coil sides in each layer. Okay. We also define certain quantities, certain terms like this. We define a term like a back pitch, that is a distance between coil sides on the back side. We have seen back end connection, that is a distance between the coil sides and back sides, and that is number of coil sides on the opposite side of the commutator. Similarly, we define a term called front pitch, that is the end of the coil towards the commutator end, what is the distance between the coil sides on the front side, number of coil sides. Okay. Then the resultant pitch is defined as, resultant pitch in coil sides will be the front side and back side, it could be the sum or difference. We will see how that, when it becomes sum, when it becomes a difference. Then we also define a term called a commutator pitch. Yc is the commutator pitch, that is basically the what is one end of a coil and one end of the next coil, which commutator it is connected to. So the distance between the two commutator segments connected to consecutive coils is called the commutator pitch. Okay. Now with this definition, there are broadly two types of coils, two types of windings. One is, there are two types of windings. One type is called a lap winding, and another type is called a wave winding. And each of these windings have certain differences. We will see what is the difference now. And the terms which we define, front and back pitch, so they will have their appropriate variations between the lap and the wave winding. So we understand that there are two basic type of windings, a lap or a wave winding. What is the difference? Let us see now. I have shown a simple lap winding here. Now here there is one coil which goes in one and comes in the next pole. Supposing this is in north pole, this will be under south pole. And after this turn is over, this coil side is over, then it is connected to, it comes back under the same pole. So if you have north pole here, south pole here, this coil side comes back to the same pole, so connected to another coil side here. Now this coil side, this is on the back side. Since the back side, the distance between this coil side and this coil side on the back side is the back pitch Yb, what we have defined. So Yb is the back pitch in the lap. Now you will see that the front pitch would be on the front side or the commutator side, that's connected to another coil side but under the same pole. So it comes back to the same pole, it does not go to the next pole. Okay. And the distance between YR is the resultant pitch is the distance between the coil sides of the subsequent coils. That means if the first coil starts here, next coil starts here, therefore this is the distance between the coil sides, the resultant pitch. In this case it may land up, it may start with the next slot, so it may be equal to one slot pitch. So this is the coil sides resultant. So we have the front pitch, the back pitch and resultant pitch. In this case resultant pitch will be equal to the back pitch minus front pitch, Yb minus Yf. Yb minus Yf is the resultant pitch. So this is the front side, and you will see that one coil at the start of the coil side, after all that is connected to commutator 1, this is connected to the commutator, and next coil side, that is the subsequent coil, is connected to commutator 2. So, we define the distance between successive coils connected to the commutator as the commutator pitch. So, in this case commutator pitch is 1, that means 1 commutator segments, means 1 commutator segment. Right. So, we have distance 1 commutator. So, this is the by definition of a lap coil. Now, you please should not misunderstand that the coils are just wound like this. In actual practice, a lap winding, they are all subsequent coils. Let us say this is one coil which is with its begin and end points. Now, there is another coil, this next coil will have, this will also its begin and end. We defined of course this as YF, and we have defined this as YB, which would mean that after all the turns are completed here, you are connecting these coils in this manner, so that the next one starts. So, you supposing there is a current, it goes through like this and comes back here, and then after that it comes out of the end of the terminal and enters the second coil like this, and again this will go to the currents will go inside and come out like this. So, you will have this like this, and we have seen that each of these they go to the commutator segments. So, after all these junction points, we will say junction, so for clarity of the windings we just show it by single lines like this. Second one we will just connect it like this, though it is not a physical connection in that manner. So, this is not bent like this, but it is bent, it is just taken out, last conductor is connected to the first conductor in this manner. Okay. So, this goes like this, comes like this, then goes like this and comes out like this. So, you will have, and all of them are connected to commutator segments. So, this difference we must know in actual winding and the symbolic representation of the winding. Okay. Now, let us see the second winding called the wave winding. This looks like this. This is a simple wave winding. In this wave winding, again you have the back side here and the front side or the commutator side here. The difference here is you will have a coil which goes from north pole and returns say in south pole. After all the turns are completed, it does not go back in the next coil side, will not be under this north pole, the connecting coil side will be in the next north pole. So, let us say this is north pole 1, south pole 1 and north pole 2 and south pole 2. That means after S1 south pole 1 it goes to next north pole, and then that is how it continues. So, it moves like a wave, one north pole to south pole, next north pole to south pole like this. This is a combination it goes. Now, so we will have the front pitch now is YB and back pitch is YB and front pitch is YF. So, this is YB and this is YF. and the resultant will be, that is the resultant we defined as the distance between the coil sides of the first coil to the next coil, that is first coil is starting here, second coil is starting here, so distance between that will be YR here. So you will notice that YR will be equal to YF plus YB, YR is equal to YF plus YB, that is this YB and YF. And now this coil side, which is this junction is connected to one commutator segment here, and the next junction is connected to another commutator segment. We have seen that in the lap winding, the subsequent junctions are just displaced by one commutator segments like this. Here the subsequent junctions are connected to several commutator segments, and this will be basically YR plus YB is equal to twice YC average. So YR will be equal to twice YC. YC is expressed in terms of the number of commutator segments to which the subsequent junctions of subsequent coils are displaced. Okay. So this difference between the lap and wave winding we must understand very clearly. So again, to clarify, that is a symbolic representation, and the wave winding, when we say that there is a one coil and then there is, so after this combination this will be north N1 and S1, so next coil will be in another, so they are identical coils, let us say there are two coils, this is under N2 and S2, so this is one pair of poles, another pair of poles. So after the whole turns are completed of this coil, so this is connected to the next coil like this, so it finishes and this will again go to the next north pole. Okay. So there could be several poles, there could be 4 pole, 6 pole, 8 pole, 10 pole, so on. So this can go through a wave like this. Now this is how this is actual connection, and what we have shown earlier is a symbolic connection. Okay. So you have the begin here, end here, then connect it here like this. So if the current goes like this, after a number of turns it comes out like this, then it gets out like this, then it enters the second coil and again traverses through several turns, n turns, comes out and exits here and goes to the next pole. So this is actually the way it is wound, and what we have shown earlier is the way they are just a symbolic. So this is just a symbolic representation of lap and wave winding. So we have seen the lap winding here and the wave winding here, and they are symbolic. Now one important thing you must understand is, if it is only 2 pole machine, then lap and wave windings will be more or less, they are synonymous. Okay. So let us make it clear that in a 2 pole machine, this is important, in a 2 pole machine lap and wave windings are synonymous. They are almost identical, because there is, if the wave winding after one coil, there is no third pole to go, it has to go back to the same north pole, right. So north to south, like convection north to south, when it goes back to the same pole, it is same as the lap winding. So we will say, if it is a 2 pole system, how actually windings are made. We have taken maybe one 2 pole system to start with, then we will go to 4 pole. Okay. Here is a 12 slot winding. I have taken a 12 slot winding wherein these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are the 6 slots at present under the influence of one pole, and 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 are under the influence of the other pole. And the junction points of where these are all connected, we will see how they are connected. So, you will see one bottom goes to 7 top, 2 bottom goes to 8 top, and 3 bottom goes to 9 top, like this. So, this is a double layer winding, that top of the coil side will go to the bottom of another coil. So, they are at 180 degrees. You will see the number 1, it is connected like this, and there are, this is the commutatory end connections, and there would always be the non-commutatory end or back pitch connection. And the currents on, always currents on this side, that is these slots under the influence of one pole will have one direction, the currents in this will have other direction. As these are rotating, this different slots will come under influence of different poles, no doubt. But however, always the conductors on this side will carry one direction current, conductors on this side will carry opposite direction of current, with the result the magnetic axis or the magnetic field produced by these currents will be like this at quadrature, whereas the magnetic field produced by the main field will be like this. So, you will always ensure that there is a 90-degree shift between the magnetic field produced by the armature and the field, and these armature ends are connected to the commutator segments, and there is a pair of brushes will be touch the commutator segments. So, we know that these commutators and the windings are continuously rotating while the brushes are stationary, and across the brushes you get a voltage induced, or you can pass a current through this. So, if you can inject a current I, that will go through the windings. Now, after as the coil moves, let us say in this direction. So, as slot 1 comes in the interpolar region, you will see it will not be carrying ideally no current exactly, and as it moves into the position which was earlier occupied at 12, so that will suddenly change the direction, which would mean if you look at a coil side here or a coils in this slot 1 which are positive in this at this instant will become 0 at this instant, and after some time it will become negative. So, you may find that how the current directions change. So, this is a representation of armature windings at different instances. So, this is one armature winding connection, because we can look at it in a clearer manner. In this way, let's see if it's okay. Now, this the conductor, that is 1, coil side 1, is connected to coil side 14 on this side, which would mean that at the back side the distance between the coil sides is 13 coil sides. So, YB is 13 here. because from 1 coil sides it goes to 13, and these are the slot numbers. I mean there are 12 slots, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. In this, each of the slots there is a top layer and there is a bottom layer, and top layer is 1, bottom layer is 2, coil side 2. So you can say all the top layer coil sides will have even numbers and bottom layer coil sides will have odd numbers, and the top layers are shown by the red and bottom layer by blue. Okay. So we have said top layer conductors are shown by red and bottom layer by blue. So the top layer of this will go to the bottom layer of this slot. So top layer of slot 1 will go to the bottom layer of slot 7. So this will be one coil. So the coil will be effectively made in such a way to displace 6 coil side 6 slot pitches, or will span 12 or 13 coil sides. So 1 to 14. So you will see on one side all the red ones, all the top layers will return through the bottom layers, but displaced by 13, like 1 to 14, 3 to 16, 5 to 18, 7 to like that. So they have been drawn like this. So if you observe like this, so they are all drawn with this way, that the top layer will go to the bottom layer. So this one side we have taken care of, that is the back side. So coils are made with 13 slot pitches. Okay. Now after the 14, it is connected to on the, we have taken here the front pitch is 15. So front pitch is 15 means it will be coming back after 14, minus 15 will be 23. That is it will next will start at 23. So first coil is starting at 1, next coil is 23, then next coil at 21, next coil as 19, next at 17, next at 15, next at 13, like this. So actually it is retrogressive because the it is going back, because the front pitch is 15 and back pitch is 13, so it will be going like this. So subsequent coils will have a movement like this. Conductors in the slots 1 to 6 are under the influence of north pole at this instant, 7 to 12 are under the influence of south pole at this instant. So the conductors under the influence of north pole, if they say, are carrying currents upwards, conductors under the influence of south pole will be carrying currents downwards. So these are the current directions. So 1 to 6 are carrying currents upwards, 7 to 12 are carrying currents downwards. So you will have this combination. Okay, now these junctions are all connected to the commutator segments. So you will see that all of these from the front side, these are all connected to the commutator segments. Let us say the coil side, that is which is connecting coil side 1 to coil side 16. That means the front side of after this earlier one, so it returns through coil side 1. So there is a 15 slot pitch, and that junction point is connected to commutator 1. Similarly, next junction to commutator 2, next to commutator 3, like this. So we will have 12 commutator segments, because there are 12 junctions here. But 2 of these coil sides will form one junction. There are 24 coil sides, so it will make 12 junctions, and that will be 12 commutator segments. So let us, next important thing, where do I place the brush, or at this instant which commutator segment is touching the brush. Okay. Now if we follow this picture, you will get an interesting okay. We can see here the coil sides move like this. So, coil sides 1, it has gone to 14, then it has gone to 23, then after 23 it has been to 12, then 21, then 10. It will go like this. So, that means 1 to 14 will be the back pitch, then 14 to 23 will be the front pitch, then again the back pitch, then the front pitch, like this. And in this combination you will have you will go through the whole route as shown here. You have seen that 1 has gone to 14, 14 has gone to 23, 23 goes to 12, and then 12 goes to 21, right, and then it follows like this. Okay, now we should know, as it traverses this route like this, there is one coil side or one junction in which current direction will be entering. That is here. If you observe the commutator 6 while the current is entering here, and the current is current is entering here, right. So, current enters here in 10 and it is also entering in 2. That means in this junction the current is entering. So, the current enters from the brush through the commutator number 6 and goes through this coil side on one side, goes through the 2 on this side. Okay. So, it is very important to note that at this junction the slot number 6 or the coil side number 10, the current is entering and this is current is entering. Whereas, if you observe any other coil, let us say this coil side, so it is just coming here, let us say number 18, the current is coming and again going back to, let us say, coil 2. So, all other coils, they are not coming to the commutator segments, the currents are going in. Similarly, you observe that in this commutator segment 12, current is coming out like this. Current is coming out on both sides. This is coming from 23 and this is coming from 14. So, the coil side 14 also current is down, coil side 23 also is current is down, and at this junction the current is coming out. Okay. So, you will observe that there is a junction in which current enters and there is a junction in which current comes out. Okay. So, we can visualize that the current enters, you are putting in IA through the brush now. This is connected to a commutator segment, some appropriate commutator segment, and through which there is a, it is going out in two routes. It will take two routes and there will be a group of coils and you will notice that after all this traverse through a series of coils, it comes out and then this will be connected to another commutator segments and another brush and the current will be. So, there will be current. If this is IA, in this case it will be, it has taken two routes. So, each will be having IA by 2 and the current is coming out IA. This is another brush and this is another commutator segments. So, in this picture we have seen that it is coming out in this commutator segment 12 and is going in at the commutator segment 6. So, when it is coming out, as we say, this junction current is entering from both sides and this junction current is leaving. So, it is going into slot 10 and this is going into slot 4 like this, slot 2, and in all others the current comes in and goes like this in all others. So, this you will observe that current is coming in going like this. Okay. So, this is important to note, where will be the location of the brushes. Okay. So, we have the location of the brushes here and we have in this example current enters the brush at this instant at commutator number 12 and comes out at commutator number 6, and the first coil side is when it is going into its commutator number 6 is entering, commutator 6 it is entering the current and coming out in 12. Which means that these two at commutator 6, when it enters, it is going one side to coil side 11 and another side to coil side 2. And then it traverses the route and comes out in commutator segment 12, where it is coming out through coil side 14 and 23. So, you will see that entering through coil side 11 and after all the traversing it comes out like this and then it goes through these commutator segments and comes out through the brush. Okay. So, this is the a picture of a two pole arrangement. As I made it clear earlier that in a two pole lap winding will be same as the wave winding, and we have we can draw the armature winding like this and locate the brushes and the commutator segments. Commutator segment connected to the ends of the commutators, and by carefully traversing through the current route we will have the location of the brushes appropriately. And we must also realize that if it is a motor, you will observe that the brush, if this is the brush through which the current is entering and through which this is leaving, so you call this as the positive and negative terminal. If it is a generator, then current is going out, so whatever it is going out you call it as positive and negative. So it is a combination of symbols of a motor, or this is the generator, this is the motor symbol. In generator current is coming out, so when the current is coming you call it as a positive brush, and the current entering it will be a negative brush. In a motor, when it is entering it is a positive brush, when it is coming out it is a negative brush. So if the direction of rotation is the same, let us say this is both, if the direction of rotation is the same, the voltage induced will be same for the same flux, only the current direction would change. So it is possible how we give a symbol of voltage and current. Voltage will be always positive, whereas current could be either positive or negative. If you consider positive for generator, then it will be negative for the motor. Okay, we will stop at this point, and in the next lecture we will discuss about 4-pole winding configuration, where the lap and wave windings would be different.